This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced. Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to the first real dedicated upload for Project Matilda. I'm looking forward to bringing you a whole lot more and hopefully being able to bring our live stream show to this platform very, very shortly. So thank you if you found us, and we'll probably modify the way things look and feel around here for the Voice of Freedom look on Project Matilda as we learn how to use it. Really, that's where I'm at. Now, I did promise when I went live recently on the other channel that I did have a little bit of curious stuff to talk about, some stuff that you may or may not look at and realize, or certainly fuel that you can use if people are starting to question some of the narratives that are going around at the moment about Russia. Now, I'm going to share my screen so that I can get this out to you. I want to talk about the way that Vladimir Putin has been reported recently. Now, we've heard everything from he's terribly sick, he's got a brain cancer, he's got some form of cancer, he's got Parkinson's disease, he's got this, he's got that, he's going to be, look, there have been so many stories, but some of them probably quite serious in that there have been assassination attempts on him and all sorts of things. So we're going to try and get into some of my later headlines that I've pulled up here over the last couple of days. Now, this is one of the headlines that are coming up. Putin's leaving meetings to get medical treatment, Christopher Steele says. Now, does the name Christopher Steele ring any bells for you? Have a look at who's putting this out too, Newsweek, all right? Now, Christopher Steele's name might ring a bit of a bell. He was the bloke that wrote the Steele dossier, you might recall. It involved, a whole heap of bullshit about President Donald Trump, including that he stood on a bed and urinated on it while hookers, gallivanted on it or something. And that bed happened to be one that supposedly Obama and Michael had slept in. So no truth to that whatsoever. But the Steele dossier formed a huge part of the campaign that was leveled against Trump, both prior to the election and all the way through it. And they used it to impeach him and all sorts of bullshit following that. So this is the bloke here, Christopher Steele, who is telling us that Vladimir Putin is going to be leaving meetings to receive medical treatment amid ongoing speculation he's still ill. Well, why would you believe this person? Why would anybody believe anything that comes out of this person's mouth? Quite seriously, we have known for some time that the Steele dossier is all lies. The Democrats couldn't even get Steele to come in and say he agreed with any of it or wouldn't sign his name to it while they were going through the impeachment process. And any testimony that they did get out of him was given in a chamber that the public certainly had no access to and certainly no media access to. So here we go. Remarks by Steele, who's known for his work on the Steele dossier, alleged that Trump and Russia had all those connections. It really was, the beat up of all time. But now, all of a sudden, Christopher Steele seems to know why Vladimir Putin. This is a bloke who doesn't work for MI6 anymore and hasn't for a lot of years. Apparently, has contacts in the business though. Look, I'm sure they do. Why wouldn't they? But seriously, why would any? Well. Now you know. Why would any two-bit rag publish this sort of bullshit? Well, clearly they're playing on the team of the other team, aren't they? So anyway, they're not the only ones. Have a look at this. This one comes from the International Business Times. Putin is always surrounded by doctors. Kremlin is in chaos, ex-British intelligence official says. So once again, similar story, several health conditions. Rumors are gaining momentum. Rumors by who? Who nobody quotes, nobody sort of being quoted as saying, "Oh yeah, look, he's not well. Here is a definite reason why," and all that sort of stuff. And if somebody does come up like that, you research them, you can't actually find any real person's name attached with that story. So that's some of the stuff that you can do for yourself if you want to go researching. You don't have to believe anything that I say, and I encourage you, please go and do your own research. Don't wait for me. On this platform, we will get a couple of people on board in the coming weeks who would like to maybe enlighten us a little bit on a few of the other plans that are going on. And I did mention something on the other channel before I was banned for 3 months about certain aspects of White Hat plans. And I mentioned two words that seem to create a lot of fuss. Those two words were looking glass. Now, if you don't know what looking glass means, there are videos available. Well, I think even on YouTube you can find them. I'll endeavor to find a couple of them and post them up here on this channel as well. Please look at those, and they will no doubt raise a great deal of questions in you. With a little bit of luck, the people that I'm trying to get a hold of to come and speak about this will come on and answer some questions as well as enlighten us to the potential uses for such a device and, well, the potential for it to actually exist. And if it does exist, how long has it existed for? That could be a key question, particularly for people who are very interested in the Donald Trump 2020 election and also back prior to that, to the 2016 election, where they saw the Steele coming through and and Hillary got beaten. That has proved to be one of the most amazing things since. We're going to talk about President Donald Trump's executive orders on this channel too. People have don't really know or aren't aware of many of the executive orders that President Donald Trump signed in the 4 years that he was in office. Some of them are extremely, extremely serious. They have very, very serious connotations for countries, particularly if those countries have been found involved in the steal of the 2020 US presidential election. And that line is why I got banned from YouTube for 3 months, because I called it a steal in the 2020 election. So that is why I lost 3 months and 5,500 subscribers on YouTube. One line, that's all it took. That won't get me taken off this platform here at Project Matilda. So I would urge you, please register, sign up. This is a community we want to build. So if you want to be part of this community, then you have to join it. It doesn't cost you anything to join. If you are an artisan, now I had a bit of a hobby before I started talking again, and that was wood carving. I wasn't very good at it, and certainly not good enough to start selling stuff. But there are plenty of people here in Australia who are into wood carving. If that's you, this is a great platform for you to start sharing your stuff. And if you want, contact me, because I love wood carving stuff, and I'm very, very interested in sharing your products around. So people should be able to see some of the creativity and some of the beautiful work that some of the Australian wood carvers can do. Give a big shout out to Geordie Johnson, the Canadian who got me into it. He's got quite a YouTube channel, so go and check out Geordie Johnson's wood carving and chainsaw carving, all that. I mean, he carves bears out of trees and all that sort of stuff. But if you do anything like that, maybe I have some friends through Facebook who do epoxy resin work. So if you've got a little side hustle, I think it's called, then Project Matilda is definitely for you, because it's got a wallet. People can see your products and they can buy them from you. So come join, be part of the group. And remember, you are not going to get any kind of censorship here, unless, of course, you're on the dark side and you're going to want to start talking about pedophilia and associated other things. We will have none of that. Well, when I say we, they will have none of that at Project Matilda. Please come and join us. Please like, subscribe, whatever button you've got to tick. I'm not sure that there are those buttons to tick yet, but with a little bit of luck, that will all come up fairly soon. I'll show you another headline. This one here is on news.com.au about Putin. Cancer-stricken Putin this time, losing a grip on power, according to the same bloke at MI6.
Clearly,
so it's the same story being rewritten just for our own edification, so to speak. I wouldn't put any credence in it whatsoever. And of course, now this is where he's going to land up in a sanatorium. He will lose power by 2023. This story isn't by the ex-MI6 dickhead Christopher Steele, proven liar, Christopher Steele. This comes from an ex-MI6 head,
Apparently he's getting more
Dr.
involved
Sir Richard Dearlove. He seems to think that Putin is going to be quietly whisked off to a sanitarium, and we won't be seeing or hearing from him again. It will be because it's the easiest, politest, and simplest way to shuffle him off. Now, there is a school of thought that the Vladimir Putin that we see here in this picture is not the real Vladimir Putin, that the real Vladimir Putin was replaced in 2018 with a clone, or at least a controlled CGI double, and he was amongst the first. I'm new to that theory, I'll be honest. I thought that he was probably a blackout originally, but they got him in something and turned him white. Trump, very persuasive man. I know that the soccer ball that they handed over that Putin handed over to Trump when Trump did the circuit of the world contained a USB key that had an awful lot of information on the Ukraine and exactly where the war is now, who's involved, why they're involved, and how evil and deep it really runs. And quite simply, Putin's speech at the time when he handed that ball over to Trump was, Mr. President, now the ball is in your court, and handed it over like that. So I would be thinking that certainly Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump, and if you're not ready for this one, I may as well blow all the eggs in one night. I am of the belief, as are many, Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, is also a white hat. So that's just something we can't prove at the moment, and probably not too bright to go talking about. But I believe that there is a war going on within the Chinese Communist Party. The dragon families, who are, if you haven't done any research, the dragon families can date their lineage back to the empires of China. They were thrown out of China, if you like, and allowed to live with great wealth as long as they never came back and exercised any power over China or any desire to rule. Now, Donald Trump has united them. They were ready for change. They thought the CCP and the evil that they were involved with needed to be stopped. But obviously, the CCP is a huge monster, and it is a very difficult thing to unite. Traditionally, though, the Chinese are very, very, very traditional, and should an emperor come back from dynasty lineage, then it would be very interesting to see how the people would split. Certainly, there is quite an army on the ground there, but these people have tradition, lineage, heritage themselves, and quite a lot of them have heritage that dates to a number of the dragon families. So this is something that's still to play out, but China, at least all things that appear nasty and mean coming out of China, may just be appearances. Keep that one in mind. You can do your own research on it. Once again, I encourage you always to go and do your own research. We have quite a huge amount of people doing stuff just like that, and then they send us questions, queries. We get quite a lot of tips, if you like. So if you have something like that that you'd like to share with us, then in the next few days we'll have an email address and possibly even a web page. You never know where this sort of stuff can be uploaded. And of course, please have a look around Project Matilda and see whether or not there's something there for you. I think you'll find that there will be. I will keep uploading the truth on this side. I'll keep talking on YouTube until we've been able to develop a community here that is strong and wants to follow the truth and wants to have a voice. Please always remember that the voice of freedom is your voice, and you can get on with me anytime you like, ask your questions, or have your say. It's a platform that I am making freely available to everyone, provided they're not preaching some hardcore kind of solution for the issues that we've got. Now, I won't go too much longer. I've only gone about 15 minutes here, so I will just touch on something that we are working on in the background. The freedom movement needs to come together, and if that means egos need to be put aside, then I really hope that the discussions going on in the background at the moment bear fruit. Because if they don't, it's simply going to destroy the movement. It's going to confuse people, and um, certainly some of those solutions are going to present greater problems down the track. Now, I won't go into those sorts of solutions tonight, but we will in the coming weeks. Um, some of these solutions that are being profited around by common law are very dangerous, and we should be thinking very carefully about how we employ them before we willy nilly go out and employ them. So if you're unfamiliar, I would suggest you come and join us on the YouTube channel, or you will be able to see it here uploaded too every Monday night at 7:30 on the Voice of Freedom on YouTube. We conduct a Magna Carta 1215 course, and we're hoping to teach people about trial by jury. That is the only peaceful way that we get a solution out of this. Revolution is not, and I cannot stress this enough, revolution is not the solution. We do not want people dying. Uh, well, we do, but just the bad ones. Okay? But trial by jury requires education because it doesn't work like a trial now. You don't it works nothing like a jury trial, which is what we've all been brought up on, well, since the legal took over in the mid 1200s. So it's nothing like that, and people need to be educated on how it actually works and how people, once they are aligned with how it works, can become jurors and can sit at these sorts of trials where eventually we aim to bring the bastards responsible for all of this before us, the people, and provide the solution. Now, depending on the severity of the charges, that solution could range from asset stripping and shaming for the rest of their life to the noose, the firing squad, the needle, a variety of other ways that life could be ended. But there will be significant consequences for what's gone on. And in the background at the moment, I believe there is a great deal of things happening. People in Queensland and certain other parts of Australia, but certainly Queensland, have been hammered by torrential rain in the last weeks. I'm not sure you can hear it at the moment, but it started again. We have had rain now. I think this is for the 10th straight day. And this isn't just a little drop of rain here or there. We are talking torrential rain, not to a point of flooding here on the coast this time. We had that, a few weeks ago or a month ago. No, this rain really on the coast now is just the edge of the big rain that is inland, and there is a massive amount of water traveling through our outback at the moment and making its way south down the continent. Now that water will eventually wind up in Lake Eyre, where it will produce life that we won't have seen in years since Lake Eyre was full again. I'm not sure how long ago, 15, I think it was years ago before since it was last filled. Bird life will come from all over the place. It is Australia's inland sea, after all, absolutely massive. So it is a hell of a sight, but something that should also be thought about. All this water that's coming down through the inland parts of Queensland is also going down deep, dark, long holes in the ground. There is certainly a very large school of thought, some evidence from people watching certain parts of the state that tunnels are being flooded under Queensland at the moment, and certainly inland of the coast. For some reason, the tunnels in Australia, while being spider-like and numerous, and mostly emanating from under Pine Gap, um, they do not tend to come inland of the Great Dividing Range. I beg your pardon, to come coastal of the inland, the Great Dividing Range in Queensland for some reason. I can only assume that has something to do with the stability of the ground that they're digging them in or whatever. But the tunnels seem to be inland of the Great Dividing Range, and at the moment there is also reports of ground tremors and almost like the thudding of explosions, is how people are describing it. They can't hear a crack, if you like, of the explosion, but more like a whoomp is what it's sounding like. That's what they're describing. Now that could be many things. Uh, these tunnels are being collapsed and flooded, I've found out. So collapsing is not just enough, because there still may well be some evildoers down in them. What they're endeavouring to do is get all the children and all the adults that have been bred or kept captive down there out, and then leave the darker elements down there. They are collapsing the tunnels and entrances, but they are also flooding them. Now, how do you flood a huge tunnel system in Australia? Well, maybe we have torrential rain capabilities out of Queensland. So the weather wars, I believe, are a real thing. In fact, there are a lot of people that believe the weather wars are right. Black and white hats have control and ability with weather manipulation. And I think what we're seeing here is a weather white hat operation to flood the tunnels in Australia. We have, from all accounts, one of the most significant tunnel networks in the country, in the world, and certainly probably the second largest in the world, the first being the one under Ukraine that extends through Europe and out into Africa and all over the place. So there are multiple tunnels all over the world. I did have an opportunity today. I worked on a local radio station on the Sunshine Coast, and one of the co-hosts was on air with me today. She gave me the opportunity to, quite surprisingly, ask me about conspiracy theories. She said, "I'll come up with a couple, and we'll have a quick talk about them. Like, did the man really land on the moon? That kind of thing." And I thought, "Oh, okay." So I took that opportunity when she asked me on air what my first conspiracy theory was that people are talking about at the moment and getting some issues. I said tunnels, tunnels, and what's in those tunnels and where they are. Made a statement that there are a lot of tunnels. In fact, a large tunnel network under Australia, filled with God knows what. You have to understand that I'm broadcasting on a radio station that doesn't talk about anything like this. And if I were to mention, children and satanic rites and blood drinking and all that sort of stuff, I'd be taken off the air probably at the end of the segment. So I didn't go that far, but I did talk about tunnels, and that's a big thing on a radio station that is a free to air radio station. So talked about tunnels, and she said, "Oh, okay." When she woke up from that one, God love her, she asked me again, "What's the second one you wanted to talk about?" So I said Antarctica. And she said, "Oh, okay. What about Antarctica?" I said, "Oh, well, what about that it's the entrance to a secret subterranean world that basically is a hollow earth kind of thing?" Uh, she was quite blown away that I brought that one up as well. So we are slowly getting the message out, and I hope a lot of people. I know. One of the guys has already contacted me through the YouTube channel and said that he heard me on the radio today, so he's come along to join in too. So great to have you along, mate. Yes, I have been down many rabbit holes, and I've managed to stay, well, in my opinion, sane, at least remotely sane. Yeah, there are some pretty horrible rabbit holes to go down, folks. Part of the reason that I'm doing this is because some of you don't want to go down those rabbit holes. Some of them you go down, there are things you'll see and hear that you cannot unsee or unhear. I'm prepared to go down most of those holes. I haven't found one yet that I'm not. I don't get into going down holes filled with child pornography or anything like that. But I've seen some shit, and one day we're all going to see that shit. But I'm telling you, the stuff you hear, the most horrible, evil, god-awful stuff you hear, it's real. These bastards, it's real. So I do what I do here so that you don't have to if you don't want to. And I'm not the only one. There are plenty of other people doing this, and there are plenty of other people who've been down a lot more holes than me. I hold myself in no high regard or high esteem with this. I'm really a beginner in it all, even though I've been into it for a few years. So I want people to know the truth, but I want them not to be triggered. I don't want to hurt people by waking them up. And some of these pills, while red, and we're all encouraging red pills, and we all think red pills are great, and we want to red pill everybody. I've seen some of these red pills. Some of these red pills will have an effect on you. So understand that before you go down those. Talk to the people who have, and don't disbelieve them, okay? That's probably the worst thing you can do. Don't disbelieve them. If you're going to disbelieve them without having the balls yourself to go down those rabbit holes, and it just makes you gutless and part of the problem. So if you're not willing, and I respect the fact some of you aren't willing and have no desire, and it will affect you. So have no doubt. Warning, warning, warning. I'm bloody serious. If you don't want to go down those holes, do not. Nobody will hold that against you, okay? You can support the movement in many other ways without having to go down those holes. So there are plenty of us who will, and there are plenty of us that will tell you what's down there in differing degrees of clarity, if you like. We will make the descriptions real enough for you to understand what's going on without being too graphic. That's my aim, because I do not want to give you any cause to be triggered by something I say or show you. Having said that, this channel, Project Matilda, offers the opportunity for me to start private rooms where people can come in, and if they want to see stuff, well, we'll introduce you to people who'll show you stuff, and maybe we can start learning from there. That's a little bit down the track yet, because it's still something that I'm trying to formulate, but it's a little way down the track. I think it will happen. But once again, I caution you, some of these rabbit holes you go down, so if you're not brave enough to go down them, when somebody tells you something outrageously, outlandishly unbelievable, and they say they've been down that rabbit hole, have the courtesy of understanding that and giving them the respect. You don't have to believe them, but give them the respect that they at least went down the hole and they got their truth out of it. You haven't been, for whatever reason, wanting to go down that hole. So don't hold the other person out to ridicule because you haven't gone down that hole and checked it out yourself. That would be my advice on my very first dedicated broadcast here to Project Matilda. Not one I'd actually thought that's not a topic I thought I was going to cover tonight, folks. So, yeah, thanks for that. Thank you for your support. Thank you for coming to find me here. Please like, subscribe, tell everybody that you know. If you are an artisan of any kind, this is the place to come join, sell your wares, and I'll help you promote it. In fact, I've got a couple of people now who want to come on and help sponsor the show, which is wonderful, because really keen to have that sort of help, because we need to keep the lights on, we need to keep the phone and the internet connected at all cost. And I am, at the end of the day, basically unemployed. I get a bit of casual work, and that's it. So hopefully, folks, you'll come along for the ride with us. Can't wait to share it with you. I'm really excited to be here on Project Matilda. And please join the community, because without you, it's just a little group. We want it to become a global community filled with love, filled with hope, filled with truth, most of all. Look forward to talking to you furthermore here on The Voice of Freedom. My name's Carl Leibold, and thank you very much for being here.